Okay, now we're going to take a look at actions and automation. And I've already opened up the flowers image that we have in the content directory. Just used it as a sample. But what we can actually do is create our own actions, and there's also some of them already made. I'm going to make actions window just a little bit bigger here. And what it allows us to do is record things we do to our images. Alright, like filters and size correction, image adjustments, and things like that. Let's take a look at some of the ones that are already made in here. I have a size one right now, where I can actually adjust our image size just by pushing play to a preset that I have. I've also got set image size to a width of 100, which I can do just by hitting play, and now we automatically have that set to an image width of 100 without having to go in and change anything. And I'm going to show you really quick how that works. Go back to our history, just delete that image size state, and go to actions. And now what we can actually do is create our own sets. And I've already got set 1, which I've created, but I'm going to create another set, which you can do by create new set. And I'm going to say tutorial set. And I'm going to create a new action. And I can call this action whatever it is I want. I'm just going to call this random. And hit record. And now I'm recording every single action I do in Photoshop. So first thing let's do is go to image size, and I'm going to change this to a percent of 50. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then what I want to do is go to filter, and I'm going to blur this, do a Gaussian blur of 4.7, click OK. And now I'm going to run a filter, stylize, find edges, and click stop. So now I've just created a random action that's going to change the image size to 50%, do a Gaussian blur, and find edges. And now this is automatically saved, and what I'm going to do is close this out and close out flowers. And now I'm going to load in another image, and I've just loaded in that sunrise image, and I'm going to select that random action, click play, and what it did was it scaled it down to 50%, ran that Gaussian blur, and did find edges. So you can create a number of actions that way. It records everything you do in Photoshop, even blending changes, image size, canvas size, anything like that. You can all save as an action. And there's a lot, like I said, there's presets in here as well, but you can do it very in depth, going with image styles and, like I said, with the blending changes, and just create hundreds and well, it also depends on your computer speed, but you can create hundreds of different actions for it to go. In order to create thousands, you'll have to have a lot of system resources to sort of render out that image and do that. But it is possible, and you can save out different actions that way. And now that we understand how actions work, we can use them to create batch processes. In other words, we can automate the action going across through folders of images. So let's say we have a folder of images, and we need to make thumbnails for a website. Well, what we can do is, in this case, I have a size, the width, 100 pixels, and I can use, let's say I need every single image to be the width of 100 pixels for the thumbnails. So what I can do is go to File, Automate. I'm going to select Batch. And now we can see that that action I had selected carried over into the batch. I can also select any of the other actions that we have in there. I can grab the tutorial set and that random one we just created. And then we have it set to source as folder. We can also do this with open files, and if we're working with the Adobe Bridge, we can do that as well. Okay, and with the source folder, we can just choose to select a folder that we'd like to use. We can include the subfolders if we want. We can override the open commands for dialog boxes, things like that, open dialogues. And then we have a destination. We can either save it and close it. So in other words, it will take the original file that you have in that folder and just overwrite it and size it down. One thing I suggest to do is to actually duplicate the folder and paste it, so copy and paste, and have another copy of that folder, and then just do it to that folder, save and close, and that's the best way to do it. Or you can set your destination as a folder, and then you can choose the folder that you'd like to put all of the edited images into. We can select how we'd like the documents to show up. We can document name, extensions, dates, serial letters, and then which extension we want, whether we want the date or the extension. So that would be how the file is set up. And then we can, if we're doing serials, we can start the serial either at 1 or beyond that. We can also set our compatibility with Windows, Mac, Unix. And then we also have stop for errors and log errors to files, so depending on which way you'd like to use it. But then when you're all ready and you have everything all set up, all you got to do is click OK, and it'll go through an entire folder and perform that action on every single image within that folder. So it's a very neat tool, and automation is a great thing to have in Photoshop, especially when you're even just creating things like thumbnails or just sizing things down. But if you do want to apply the same filter to every single image, you can also create an action that way and then batch it. There are other automations available that I'm not really going to go through, but we have a PDF presentation, a create droplet, we can create contact sheets. Crop and straighten photos is a cool one because we can open up a photo that's slightly tilted. This is more for scanned in photos. If you scan one in and it's got a little bit of a white edge around it and it's not quite straight, you can select crop and straighten, and what it'll automatically do is straighten the photo, rotate it, and then crop off the edges. So that's a great automation. We also have photo merge, which is great for creating panoramas, and then merge to HDR if you wanted to create a high dynamic range image. There's picture package in here, fit image. So there's lots of different automations you can go through and just play around with.